Hello and welcome to this episode of the Reset Podcast. I'm your host, Lauren Mignot. I am so delighted to have the amazing Tahira White, who is the co-founder and president of 19th and Park. This interview is part of my amazing 29 Days of Magic series, where I get to interview a Black woman a day and just hear their amazing, delightful stories. This is going to be a great conversation. Take a listen. Hey, Tahira, how are you?
Hey, Laura. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Sure, I'm so excited to have you on the show. So, you've been listening diligently to 29 Days. You know the story. First question is always the same. So, what was your first job?
My first job was actually at Banana Republic, working in retail. I was so anxious to be able to get out. My mom would not buy me the shoes that I wanted, and she would always tell me I needed to figure out how to get it myself. So the moment I could get a permit, which was like before you could officially work in the state of Maryland, I got a permitted job at Banana Republic in the in the stockroom.
Okay.
And yeah, that's where it all started.
Wow. So you did the stockroom. So that means, again, you know how to actually fold things really well.
I do. I know how to fold things very well, merchandise very well. I actually ended up working in retail for quite a while from there. So yeah, I ended up staying in retail actually all the way through college up until I moved to New York. I worked at Echo the moment I was old enough to. I ended up becoming assistant manager while I was in high school, which was pretty awesome. And so that gave me a lot of responsibilities in terms of opening, closing, counting all of the money and just being responsible for the success of the store. That was unprecedented, but I even see now how today that was actually beneficial for me. And then worked in retail through college as well. If I wasn't in school, I was either working at Saks and Madewell or throwing a party at a nightclub, like hip hop nights for all the local Black colleges and HBCUs in the DC area.
Well, all right then. Okay, so this I hear a story coming. All right, so we go from throwing college parties and working retail everywhere to founding 19th and Park. What was that career journey like?
Oh wow, a very diverse one, but it's interesting in the way that when I reflect back now, everything lined up. So when while I was in school, I was throwing the parties and that was cool, but I was like, I'm always curious about what else I can do, how far I can push limits. And I met this amazing woman, her name's Kim. And she had a consulting firm that oversaw a lot of the permit expediting for most of the special projects in DC. So that was like the National Academy of Science, a couple of new buildings, the museum, the Smithsonian Museum that's now up. And so I would assist her in going to all the local DC offices and negotiating permits to get, the architectural updates made to the buildings. And eventually I don't want to say that was enough, but eventually I wanted to see again what else is out there. And I started looking on Craigslist, which ages me a bit, but I found an internship on Craigslist for a fashion show production company. And I was like, oh my God, fashion show. I've seen New York Fashion Week, in the magazines. That's so cool. And it was in New York. So I signed up for it, got an email back, hopped on the mega bus up to New York and took an internship. And the first show we did was Zach Posen and Betsy Johnson at the Altman Building. And though I knew nothing about anything that went into production, I just became obsessed. The adrenaline rush, seeing everything come together, all these amazing people. Oh my gosh, it was Miss J. Yes, I think Miss J actually sold me into doing fashion
Wow. Oh my gosh. Well, if ever there was someone to sell you in, it would be Miss J. Oh my gosh. I didn't. Wow.
way back, this is like 2008. Yeah, this is like 2008. So started interning for them, doing a ton of shows. I did it for 2 seasons. I'm from New York originally, so it was it was easy for me to just come up here, stay with my grandparents or my cousins, and just work Fashion Week or whatever. That working seasonally then turned into a job opportunity, kind of like I do today. I walked up to the owner of the company and was like, "Hey, you have to need more help than just these seasonal shows. How can I be a part of what you're doing and what you're building?" He gave me an opportunity. He gave me a job as a production coordinator in what was his boutique fashion show company. It was a company called Navia. It actually was called Ohala, and then Eyesight. And it was a partnership with an amazing lighting designer named Terry Dreyfus out of Paris. And we were the New York office. And so I got to really study under the two of them, and learn a lot about lighting and staging and design, and, grow an appreciation for all of that. And while it was small, it was probably like, I want to say like 5 of us in the office. It really was what I see now as a launch pad for me to understand building a business, right? And running a startup and all the ins and outs that go into agency work. So I stayed with him. He ended up branching off and creating what is now Navia Vision. And we started doing public runway shows. I don't know if you remember the big express fashion shows. There was one in Times Square. We would travel Chicago, Savannah, and build these big, massive public runway shows, and then shoot these $1 million commercial campaigns around them. And so, yeah, that was little old me figuring it out. We were all figuring it out at that time, because content production was also new to my boss, the owner of the company. He was always an events guy, but we partnered with other agencies to make it happen. Fast forward 2014, had an amazing run with them, went from production coordinator to PM, producer, all the way up to project manager, and being his second hand and helping him really expand the business. Again, that trigger and want to see what else is out there, I decided to go freelance. And at that point is when I really saw that being a multimedia producer, being able to do both content and experiential, was a rarity. It was a novelty. So the moment I said, "Hey, I'm free, I'm freelancing," like I was swarmed with opportunities and calls, and kind of is continued since then. Quite honestly, I worked with, a variety of agencies and production companies producing global campaigns for Samsung, DVF, Maserati, and had the opportunity to support and work with Frank Ocean on his Blonde release campaign. And shortly after that, I helped a basketball player by the name of Evan Turner open up a store, which was like a dream that he had in Ohio. And that was actually the moment where I saw everything that I did, from my retail experience to my permit expediting to building activations, to having relationships in fashion, to building content, like all come into one, because now we had to actually build a store and operate a fully functioning store. And so that was a great challenge, and like very much a aha moment, like, okay, I'm actually on the right path here. And right after we opened it, Whitney and I decided to just launch 19th and Park. We were really excited about everything that was happening. There were so many opportunities starting to come in. And we were, in a bit of a scrappy way, trying to figure out how to make it happen, and realize that, coming out of this store project needed to really commit to building this company and building up to what we have today.
And do tell what you are today, because it's fantastic. And I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. So fast forward today, 19th and Park, we like to coin ourselves creative execution agency. Agency scares people. So we say, we'll sometimes say marketing and production company. We've really created this, integrated hybrid model of finding a way to merge both creative services and production services and still be able to be nimble so that we can support a variety of clients, a variety of different projects, and not really be pigeonholed into, any particular type of work, and also lean into the gig economy and the creator economy and allow people to, freelance and take on other opportunities while still collaborating, creating dope work with 19th. So 5 years later, this is our 5-year anniversary. We are a 20 plus person team.
Go ahead.
Huh?
Go ahead, girl.
20 person strong. And service a variety of clients, Fortune 50, Fortune 100, doing a lot of short form content, some experiential, and we'll start getting into long form original content this year. We are, have gone through the ringer in terms of bootstrapping and building our business, and successfully have, I will say proudly, have managed to accomplish over $10 million in revenue in just 5 years. And I say that proudly because it's not easy. Nope. And I know that if we can do it, other women can and other people can. And, it took a lot of strategic relationships and partnerships to get to this point. But our foot is on the gas. And yeah, I'm really excited for what we have coming up this year and how we continue to expand the company.
Fantastic. I remember when I met you ladies a few years ago when you were first starting, I was like, these ladies are onto something. Because I was like, they get both sides of the universe in a way that most companies don't. So I am immensely proud of you all. And because I know how hard the road is to get there. And so, you've done an amazing job. So I'm sure along the way you were like, this is insane. How will we ever get through this? So talk to me about a time when you guys had a challenge. You're like, there's no way we're making this through. And then you did.
Oh my gosh. Like the whole
yesterday.
I mean, there's always something. That's the one thing is challenges never change, they never go away. They just change. The bigger you get, the deeper the challenges get. And for me now, for both of us, it's pushing us definitely out of our realm of comfortability. Client challenges is a lot different than enterprising challenges and P&L challenges and stock option challenges, things like that we're having to think through and sort through now as a company. But there was a moment actually in 2019 where our clients were getting bigger. We had, this beautiful work to show, but we just didn't have the right team. And they were people that we loved, still love until this day. But it was a moment where we realized that we really needed to invest more into people who were true experts in the work that we were doing. And that was a challenge because we care about the relationships. We care about being able to develop people and build people, but there comes times in the road, especially as when you're scaling, that you have to invest in more experienced talent, right? And you just can't afford to keep everybody. And that was a really, tough decision for us to have to make. It also meant the two of us taking on double the responsibility until we, got the right people in the door, and not just got them in the door, but got a flow going with them.
To get it. Yeah, because
that takes time. Yeah. So even if, your transition is you let, the group go, or there's a transition moment, there's still a lot of learning that happens 30, 60, 90 days once your new team is intact. And so, yeah, 2019, I want to say early, we let our full team go, just cleaned house because we just had challenges that we knew we were going to hold us back. And day by day, we were interviewing, and, every 2 weeks we were onboarding someone new, which really led to our 20-person team now. So we brought in CJ, our VP. We brought in Artesia, who was our head of production. She was phenomenal. She's now moved on to features. We have a new head in now, but she really helped build out a true, production team and structure. And we started bringing our producers. And so just saw we see now the evolution of that decision, but it was really hard. And again, because they're people we love and care about, and when people give their time and effort, you have a sense of loyalty to them. But we also understood that you got to make some shifts to level up sometimes. So yeah.
And it's necessary. Like, that's part of the growing process. It's kind of the icky sometimes part of the growing process, but it's necessary.
Yeah.
And then you make it to the other side. And, I always, one of the best pieces of advice I got from my business coach was that, like, you always find a way. Mm-hmm. Like, and I think that's the thing that, like, separates great entrepreneurs from everybody else, is that, like, you find a way. And the road might not be easy, but you do find a way.
Yeah. And we're producers, right? So we really always find a way. We don't have a choice. That's exactly. Our careers are built off of, being the fix-it people and the find a way people when no one else can. So it does set you up in a good way for the adversities that you face in entrepreneurship as well.
Yeah, and I think good people who are working, who are doing the great work, and it's a really good. Yeah, I just love seeing folks like us win. So I know how hard it is. So I guess you're doing all this great work, and thinking about where you are right now, what do you think you'd tell 18-year-old Tahira?
I would tell 18-year-old Tahira, I would tell 18-year-old Tahira to stay focused and stay confident. Stay focused, stay confident in who you are and what you believe, and do not compromise. You can hear other people. I truly believe in hearing out other people, being open to opinions, but you have to be solid in your own beliefs and values, and not flex on that. There's been many times and points between 18 and 33, which is what I'll be this summer, where I compromise my values and my beliefs at times. And there's not one of those instances or those moments that I didn't regret. Granted, there are great lessons that come from them, but if I knew then what I know now, and the importance of staying 10 toes down to who you are, no matter what anyone else says or does, I might have, avoided some frustrations, or averted some mistakes. So yeah, that's what I would tell her for sure.
I love that. I think that's a great piece of advice. So obviously y'all, have been busy building a phenomenal organization over the last 5 years. And the life of an entrepreneur, especially a Black woman entrepreneur, is a very stressful one. Mm-hmm. So what in the world do you do for your self-care?
I shop. No, I'm just kidding. No, I do. Retail therapy is a thing, and I have no shame.
No shame. Listen, you got to do it.
It's groceries. It's online, Net-a-Porter, like whatever. Amazon. Amazon's my friend. But no, outside of that, I actually take the hours of 5 to 8 for myself. I wake up, I meditate, I stretch, I work out, whether that is going down to the gym in my building or taking a tennis lesson. I like tennis. It's like a good way. There's a lot of there's a philosophy to it in the way that you play that challenges you to be patient and watch. And I find that watch where the ball is. And I find that applies to life and business as well. So it's a mental workout as well as physical. And it's nice to just like hit something. But
violence, you mean? You want to choose violence?
A little violence, without hurting.
I love tennis. No, I love tennis. I have a jacked up shoulder. Otherwise, I play it more. Play it more often. But like, there is something about the rhythm of like hitting something back over and over and over again that comes in really handy.
Mm-hmm. It's a challenge, and it feels good to release that. And you're not hurting anyone, but you're getting out frustrations for sure. And then, so in the mornings, tennis, gym, tennis,
Net-a-porter.
Breakfast and net-a-porter, or breakfast in the news. Those are my sacred hours. I have a couple of times, like I have a team in Berlin that tries to invade those hours often, but those are my like sacred hours that I really try to stick to and I hold to. And same thing at the end of the day. So like 7 to 10, I hold those hours to myself as secret, whether it's eating dinner, going out with friends, doing laundry, cleaning, like whatever it is, but it's just me time. I think that's the most important thing, is having me time and committing to that in the same way that I commit to doing stuff for everyone else, for running my business, for my clients. And then aside from that, therapy. I am a huge advocate for therapy and life coaching. So I take those two things very seriously, and I'm very committed to my coaches. And I just recommend that for everyone, because it just has made such a tremendous difference in the way that I feel, in the way that I move and float through the world these days, and able to, be aware of myself and my thoughts and my processes. And it's helpful to have people to talk to and dissect those things with. And that's it. And, in those me times, just finding time to have a good time, whether it's going to the spa, going out to eat, shopping, watching TV, anything that is fulfilling, that is not attached to work.
Exactly. It's like the things you do to get away. And yes, I do love net-a-porter. It's dangerous. And the fact that they can do same day delivery is also extremely dangerous.
It is genius and dangerous at the same time.
You're like, wait, I can order this at 9 o'clock. At 1 p.m. Oh dear, this is a problem.
Door. I love it.
Like it's at my door. Like, I don't know how y'all do this. What?
So. I need Moda Operandi to get on that, because they have the most gorgeous looks and clothes, but they never deliver in more than like 2 or 3 days, which is stressful.
Yeah, Moda Operandi, and then My Teresa, which I recently just discovered from I saw someone on Instagram, and I'm like, oh wait, they have some beautiful stuff here. Okay, this is bad. I mean, good. I mean, really, really bad. No, really, really good. So
it's all good.
But yeah, I'm super psyched to always do a little bit of retail therapy. It's just good for you. That's what the Lord told us. So last question for you. Do you have a give and or ask of the audience?
Ooh, I missed that question. Do you ask that question in your other podcast?
Of course I do.
What is it? A give?
It's always the last question. The first question, last question are always the same. 5 years into this podcast. A give or ask. So that means a give could be a bit of advice, a great book you've read. An ask could be anything from, hey, like, take time for yourself, give yourself grace, be kind to others, anything you want. It doesn't have to be both. It could be one or the other, or both.
Okay. my give is this book called Sapiens. It's by Yuval Harari. It's a history of humankind. And if you're interested really in how we got to where we are today in a place of segregation, but also the mindsets of individuals and just correlating it back to his history and how we've gotten here as humans, it's a really amazing insight. It was mind-blowing for me because there's just so much I didn't realize, like I didn't remember from even like learning in college, honestly, about the history of humans and the evolution of us as sapiens. So that, I think that it's a good book separate from all the self-help and entrepreneurial books that I'm sure everyone is reading. And my ask is exactly what you said. Be kind to others, but also be kind to yourself. Love on yourself, fulfill yourself, and make time for yourself and commit to that time, and be consistent with that time, because it's important and it feels good and it's important. I'll just say that.
I love it. Oh my gosh, Tahira, you were such a delight. And like I said, you just do the most phenomenal work. It is such a delight to see how you have grown and built. And I am so honored that you were part of my 29 Days of Magic series. So thank you so much for taking time out your day. I know it was busy to come join me today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for creating this space. Thank you for always being an advocate for Black women, being an advocate for me and my team. And I just appreciate everything that you're doing. And excited to continue to watch you blossom.
Well, thank you, girl. Awesome. And so we'll put all the details in the show notes so you can follow Tahira and 19th and Park. Again, if you want amazing storytelling done by phenomenal Black women and a remarkable team who can turn around things in a heartbeat, trust me when I tell you a heartbeat, definitely want to work with 19th and Park. And that is our show.